you and we make for some Tom May TV. It's the morning. We are having a breakfast buffet at Brandon House. It's awesome. They have a chef that will make you waffles and eggs and omelets and whatever you want, and then they have a whole buffet. And then we just got some lattes to go. So we had to fill up on breakfast because today is a very long day. We have a drive, well, up to the Rock of Cashel, St. Patrick's Rock, and then all the way down to Cork. So it's a long driving day, and we needed a decent breakfast in order to make it to dinner tonight, because I don't know that we'll be able to have lunch. So come on along, we're going to the Rock. Okay, so we arrived at the Rock, parked in the parking lot that's down here, crossed. It's really not too confusing. And then it's chilly, very chilly. And we are going to climb up there, which is not that bad on a chilly day. We need to warm it up. Here we go. It looks like a much longer climb than it actually is. Yeah. Okay, so we're going to join the tour at 12:30, and we don't know what we're going to hear or see outside of the Rock. I guess we do know. And there's a tour that's already begun, where they've gone forward. It goes super wide for this view, but look out on the land here. Quite a vantage point. From St. Patrick's Rock. Okay, we've made it to the Rock. How's the temperature up here?
You know, it's not too bad. It's a little chilly.
Yeah.
But we're going to survive.
It's
going to be okay.
We have all the clothes on that we brought. So we're just about to start the tour. And I don't know if they allow video or not, but if they do, then you'll see it. And if not, you'll hear us talk about it in just a second.
The mountains are a glacier-formed mountain range. So you can imagine at the end of our last ice age, massive ice caps sitting on top of that mountain. And as they start to melt, those glaciers start to melt, they start to cut and carve out the lakes and the quarries, and they'll sit within that mountain range, which meant they disrupted an awful lot of boulder and rock. And in the process, it was picked up by the ice as it moved downwards and onto the flat terrain, and eventually it melted so much that it was depositing and dropping the load. So this is one of the deposits that was dropped along the way. Theory number 2 is that in the 5th century, while St. Patrick was here, himself and Satan had a bit of an encounter. The devil himself was then banished to the north of the site. It's the hills that we see over here to the north-hand side. And after the devil was banished, he took a bite or a chunk out of one of those hills, spat it out, and it landed right here.
Okay, that's how it's got here.
This way your opinion is which one we think is fact or fiction, but we'd never let the truth get in the way of a good story either. So bear that in mind as we make our way around the site today. Depending on the land, you have tillage to the west of the site, and to the east of the site, and you have Moher and Baldoyle. Moher are the biggest breeders of horses in the country. Baldoyle is the biggest trainer of flat horses. And they're
into St. Patrick's Cathedral. It's quite a group here.
that had great influence here on top of the rock, be it down to our religion or down to taxation. So guys, you often hear the term daylight saving hours, and that refers to window tax. We also would have had a hearth tax, and we also would have had a roof tax. So things either had to get smaller, get stripped back, or get filled in.
Buried here is the scoundrel of Cashel, the Archbishop who went from Roman Catholic to Protestant. And once he was Protestant, he was able to marry. He had 2 wives, 8 children, and about 36 illegitimate children. So the scoundrel is buried here. Maybe not here, because they were afraid he might get messed with, but in an unmarked grave on the site. So here's the oldest marked grave at the castle, dating back to the 1500s. This works, but we're just outside and the land is spectacular. What a vantage point. Oh my goodness. From here you can see 9 counties in Ireland on a clear day. Not today. Let's catch up with our group. The round tower is incredible. Okay. So this gentleman just recently buried here. He was willed the grave because he had no right to be buried here, but his mother did. So she willed him the right to be buried on the rock. And they granted it. It feels strange to be walking over this through all the gravestones.
Rock of Cashel to take on the title of King of Munster, but also to take on the title of Bishop of Cashel and Emly. And he gladly returned. But he was adamant that on his return to Ireland, that he wouldn't build a form of a chapel similar in form and architecture to what was here already. So architecture in Ireland is fairly basic. You're talking a rectangular-shaped building with a stone brick roof on top. He wanted to do something a little bit different. He decided to build a body of a Romanesque chapel, which you would have seen on the continent itself, and then put an Irish element of a stone brick roof on top. So this form of architecture, where you find nowhere else in the world, is what we call Hiberno Romanesque. So Irish and continental. You see the rounded arches, the blind arcades. At no point were any of these recesses had windows in them. It was a lightless chapel. although windows would have been added at a later date to the right-hand side of the doorway and directly above the doorway itself. So that's why it's a fresh platform. You can see the zigzag pattern there throughout, that's called chevroning, and you'll notice that there's a horizontal line wrapping around the body of the building called string coursing. It gives the illusion that it's a lot taller than what it actually is. And just like our cathedral, this building is cruciform in shape. With your chancel or altar area on the east, you have 2 square towers, north and south, and then the west would have been for your congregation, or your nave. I say a congregation, it would have been solely the royal family who would use this building. It wasn't until a much later date that Joe Public would have got the chance to see the interior of the structure. This building would have been quarried about 14 miles northwest of where we stand today. So in those hills and mountains that we saw earlier on. And they tell us that according to folklore that a human chain was created to transport this stone here to the Rock of Cashel. But if that was to be the case, the entire population of Ireland would have massively unlikely. But there is no doubt about it, plenty of animal power and plenty of manpower. Not only will cut this stone, but also will transport it across the land here and bring it up to us here at the Rock of Cashel. 4-legged animal is. You're not far wrong. He is farmyard. It's actually bovine. So what you're looking at there is the winged bull of St. Luke. Luke is your evangelist, he's your gospels, but he's also your patron saint of sculptors and artists. And the triangular shape you see in his back, that's his wing. Above me here, underneath the roof line, you may notice faces. Oh yeah. Now, they have been very heavily eroded with the passage of time, but you can make out that they're not exactly pleasant, that they're a little bit kind of sinister or evil looking. And my take on it is a little bit more kind of pre-Christian in its belief. These evil faces are a bit like our pumpkins that we carve at Halloween. They're supposed to be evil, they're supposed to be sinister, because they're warding away evil spirits. And these guys are the exact same, warding away evil spirits as you make your way into these religious buildings. They're also highly effective for younger visitors, to put the fear of God in you.
Okay, so if you have a wristband, which only costs €3, you get to go inside.
It's warmer in there?
I think it's warm right now. Let me see your wristband. Right there. The Cormac's Chapel Guided Tour. We're going in. There's one more part.
Warmer in here.
Okay, so there is a reconstructed roof that she took great time to explain how this was taken down, dry down for 4 years, and then put back exactly how it was, with some exceptions because a lot of the stones didn't make it, they just crumbled. Put ventilation in to try and keep the sandstone dry and get the moisture out of here, which is the reason it was falling apart in the first place. So there, the chapel roof is beautiful. I hope that shows it well.
This is our 12th century Cormac's chapel. And as you can see directly above us, we have our rounded spiral vaulted ceiling. Usually, if we were at the convent, you would see this visible from the outside. Because our Cormac is Irish elements, these stone pictures above. Directly above this, there's a false floor that leads up to the 8th finger. You can see this from the outside. And access to that upper room is via a staircase which is here in our southern tower. Those steps are trimming steps. Different shapes, sizes, heights, and widths, designed to cause someone to stumble or trip on the way up. And you will also notice that there is a beam on site today, we have a tapestry across the way your river's board, just behind the dining table. And it depicts the light on the wall. You have the baptism of our Lord in the River Jordan. So they depict different religious scenes. And you'll notice their gorgeous use of colour. We have a lot of goalies. We have a lot of red, which is vermilion from Spain. And we have a lot of lapis lazuli, or ultramarine. Lapis lazuli in the 12th century was only ever quarried from the mountains of Afghanistan. We travelled along the Silk Road as far as Syria. From Syria by boat as far as Venice. Picked up in Venice and brought here to the Rock of Cashel. In its time, lapis lazuli was more precious than gold itself. And it's used liberally inside that space. There was no expense spared in the creation of frescoes, and there was also no expense spared in the creation of this building as a whole. I may have mentioned it to one or two of you there while we were waiting, that it wasn't Irish craftsmen that built this building. Romanesque architecture wasn't a familiar sight to any of our stonemasons. So you can only imagine, no matter how good your plan is, if you have to design something in a simpler style, it's going to be kind of guesswork for you. Chances are, as Cormac was coming off the continent, he brought continental men with him, be it from mainland Europe or even from the UK, which would have been involved in the build of this structure.
So we've come just out here, and she wanted to say a bit about it.
This is the front door. This constructed or finished in 1134.
So that's the front door.
That is our cathedral. So that 13th century structure was built up on top of Cormac Chapel. Why? This is McCarthy's or Onoch. That is Dalcash or O'Brien. You may remember there was rivalry between those two tribes in stage out here on top of the Rock of Cashel, and that rivalry continued even into the church period here on top of the Rock of Cashel. You can see because this is the front door and because it was blocked off to the weather that it actually had deteriorated at a quicker rate as the southern doorway. And because of that we've beautiful detail on it. So we have a massive multiple arch directly above me, but on the face above the arch we have beautiful rosette detail. You can see that directly above. We have mythical creatures carved into either side of the door, and I use that term mythical because I couldn't tell you for the life of me what they are. Okay? And directly above me here we have another tympanum. We saw the big bull of St. Luke on the opposite side, but in this side what we're seeing is two characters. We have a lion and we have a centaur. We believe the lion represents the institution that is the Roman Catholic Church, or Rome itself. Our centaur represents the Gaelic or the Irish Catholic Church. We are the same religion, we are the same creed, doesn't necessarily mean that we agree with all the rules and the regulations coming from Rome. So let's just say, if you are coming from Rome, walking across the land, you've just come from the round tower because this building isn't here in the way, you saw that above the doorway, you're going to be met by opposition once you enter this building. What is quite interesting though about our centaur, our half man, half horse, is you'll notice he's wearing a helmet and he's wearing with the nose piece. The Norman helmet. The Norman invasion hadn't come to Ireland yet by the time this building was finished. Why is that there? To me that really instills the fact that it was continental men that were involved in the construction of this building and not Irish. Is a sarcophagus. In total in Ireland today there's 16 surviving sarcophagi, but this is the only Irish crafted one, and it dates to the 12th century, so we can only assume it was carved from the same stone and created this building here. A sarcophagus is very simple in the sense that directly translated from Greek it's known as a flesh eater. So simply you would place a human remain in this tomb. Somebody important, somebody significant, somebody like Cormac McCarthy work. They would have been doused in a lime-based material to sped up the decomposition process. And with the passage of time, about 40 to 60 days, depending on how large the human remain was, decomposition would have set in. All the body fluids and gases would have escaped out the two back soap holes there at the back of the tube. And you then would have taken the bare bones out of it, would have been turned it elsewhere. So something like this was reused and quite continuum based. While it was in use, of course, it was outside. It wasn't in here. But for a period of time, it would have been housed in our cathedral. And as that roof and parts of the wall started to fall away into ruin and disrepair, it cracked the cap or the seal that would have been on top of it and caused the damage that we're seeing here to the front. So it was decided in the 1840s for its own safekeeping that they would move it from that building through the wall here, which is good with the fresh blockwork, and keep it safe here within the walls of Cormac Trap. On the front then, you have beautiful craftsmanship and carving in the style of ornate, Scandinavian. It's not Irish. Which really does tell you how the Viking population integrated quite well. We often hear the phrase, they became more Irish than the Irish themselves. And they did. What you will also notice is that it's in the figure of 8, although some of it is missing. Just sitting on its side there. Infinity, life everlasting, life eternal. Which is quite apt, I think, for a place in Mary.
Sarcophagus.
Okay. Be on with it.
So as we head down, we're done with the rock, but have we ever run into the weather?
Yeah.
It's windy, it's cold.
I wish I would bring my hat.
When did they move the Rock of Cashel to Buffalo, New York?
Come on.
Oh. Just a story from the tour, because it's very hard to bury people on the rock because it is all rock. Those that were allowed to be laid up there started to build graves above ground. And this one was struck by lightning on top, you can see. And it was a Celtic cross, and it went over the wall and down, and then to never be seen again, because they say once something goes over the wall on the rock, it never comes back. So they're guessing, since it's not up there, that it's somewhere in Ireland, somewhere in town, but somebody got the top. It could be on somebody's mantle, who knows? Shooter getting it going in, yeah. We made it.
Turn right at Maryborough Avenue. In 200 meters, your destination will be on the left. Head north on Maryborough Avenue. In 300 meters, turn right.
We've now arrived to the Maryborough Hotel. This has a fine entrance all the way down, as you saw on Rhonda's video, and we're gonna go see if we can check in. We're a mite early. So the Maryborough Hotel, very modern, and reception way down here. Okay, just a quick look at the room here, and pretty typical. You see in Europe, you get two twin-size beds put together to make a king. And you got a little settee there, some water. But look at the view. It is awesome. The grounds are lovely. So we're going to freshen up and spend some time. We'll talk about this in a minute, but we've got to reshuffle our luggage, and then we shall have some dinner. Okay, so we're at the Maryborough Hotel bar, And we're gonna try Murphy's at the recommendation of my brother Tim because it's Guinness-like, but he says he likes it better. And we're also gonna have, I'm gonna try seafood chowder, and Rhonda's got roasted red pepper and tomato soup. So that's what we're gonna have for our snack. And then we'll think about dinner tonight, although we're not that motivated.
Yeah, this might be my dinner.
This might be it. Look at me, seafood chowder. How often do you see a giant piece of salmon right in the middle of it? Holy cow. Rhonda got the roasted pepper and tomato soup. That looks divine.
Smells delicious.
Let's have a live taste test.
No, it's too hot right now.
We're drinking Murphy's, which is Guinness-like, but a little milder, I would say, after that sip. Okay, before we end the video for today, I want to give you the tip of the day. And that is, we've been coming in and out of hotels. When you're staying as long as we do, 2 full weeks, and you're staying practically at a different hotel every single night, and you've brought 100 pounds of luggage with you each, 50 pounds a bag. And it's not quite, because it's 50 pounds for the big one, and then there's maybe 40 pounds in the smaller ones, and then a backpack or a rolling bag. So I think the way to do this is to not bring all your luggage in every single night. If you can make a bag out of your big bag, to just take that in the hotel, that'll get you dressed the next day and showered and everything else. That's the way to do it, because it is drudgery dragging these bags through Ireland, and there's not a lot of lifts in these hotels. Now, there was one here at the Maryborough, but that's the first lift we've run into. There's no lifts in any of these hotels. So you got to carry these up maybe 2 and 3 flights of stairs. So that's the hot tip of the day. Be prepared to make a small bag to get in these hotels and leave the rest of this stuff in your motor car. And that's going to do it. Good day. Tomorrow, we'll be kissing the Blarney Stone. Where else would you rather be than checking out the Rock of Cashel on Tom May TV?